I thought I knew my husband. I thought I understood his desires, his secrets, his quiet cravings. But one night, after a simple dinner with his friend, he looked me in the eyes and confessed something that shook me to my core. He said he wanted to see me with another man. Not once, not as a joke, but as his deepest, darkest fantasy. I laughed at first, thinking it was a tease, but the way he repeated it, calm, serious, almost pleading, made my heart stop. That was the moment I realized my marriage was about to change forever. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, because what I'm about to confess will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about love, desire, and betrayal. My husband Daniel and I had been married for 7 years. Our life together was comfortable, stable, even enviable. People often told us we were the perfect couple, always laughing, always in sync. And in many ways we were. But marriage has layers. There are things unspoken, quiet desires tucked away where no one dares to look. At least that's what I believed. Until that night. It started innocently enough. Daniel's old friend Marcus invited us over for dinner with his wife Vanessa. They lived in a modern, stylish home filled with warm lighting and easy laughter. Vanessa was open, bold, the kind of woman who could turn any story into a confession. Over wine and dessert, she leaned across the table and, with a mischievous smile, said, "We're in an open relationship. It works for us. We don't hide what we crave." I nearly choked on my drink. I had heard of couples like that, but never this close to home. I laughed awkwardly, expecting Daniel to dismiss it, to change the subject. But he didn't. He just listened. His expression unreadable, but his eyes hungry, curious. The ride home was quiet, too quiet. I thought nothing of it, until the next day when Daniel began making little comments. Jokes at first. "Imagine if we tried something different. Imagine if you were with someone else and I just watched." I laughed it off. But he didn't. And soon, those little jokes stopped sounding like jokes at all. That's when I realized Marcus and Vanessa hadn't just shared their lifestyle over dinner. They had planted a seed inside my husband, a seed that was already beginning to grow. At first, I tried to ignore it. Every time Daniel brought it up, I brushed him off, told him he was ridiculous, told him to stop fantasizing about impossible things. But he wouldn't let it go. His words got bolder, more specific. One night while we were lying in bed, he whispered, "I've been dreaming about it. You, with another man, me watching you." My stomach turned. I told him it was sick, that he was out of his mind. I rolled over, refusing to listen. But he didn't stop. He pressed on, night after night, weaving his fantasy into our conversations, into our intimacy, into the quiet spaces where I used to feel safe. The more I resisted, the more obsessed he became. It wasn't just talk anymore. It was the way he looked at me, the way his eyes lingered when another man smiled at me, the way his jaw clenched when a stranger held the door open. It was like he was feeding his own secret hunger, and I was the unwilling meal. Then the arguments started. Every no I gave him turned into a fight. He accused me of being closed-minded, of not trusting him, of denying him the one thing he had always craved. I accused him of ruining our marriage with sick fantasies. Our laughter disappeared. Our warmth faded. Every touch felt tainted by his obsession. And for the first time, I began to wonder if I even knew the man I had married. But the real breaking point came one night, after another fight left me in tears. Daniel looked at me with an intensity I had never seen before. His voice was sharp, demanding, almost desperate. "This is who I am. This is what I want. And if you can't give it to me, then maybe I married the wrong woman." The words sliced through me, and that was the moment I realized I was losing him. After that night, nothing was the same. Daniel stopped being subtle. He started sending me articles about couples who explored together, videos that made my stomach twist, stories of women who gave in and saved their marriages. I felt cornered, trapped between the man I loved and the fantasy that was consuming him. One evening, he came home with a look I'll never forget. Calm, cold, determined. He sat across from me at the kitchen table and said, "If you love me, you'll do this. I don't want anyone else. I want you." I just want you in a way you don't understand yet." I shook my head, tears burning in my eyes. "I can't. I won't." But the wall between us was already too high. The weeks that followed were unbearable. He stopped touching me, stopped joking, stopped being the man I married. Every moment we shared felt heavy, poisoned by the silence of the thing he wanted and my refusal to give it. And then, I broke. It wasn't love that made me say yes. It wasn't desire. It was exhaustion. A desperate attempt to hold on to the man who was slipping further away with each passing day. I told him I would try. Just once. And the way his face lit up, it was like I had finally given him oxygen after years of suffocating. But what I didn't know then was that just once was a door I could never close again. The first time shattered me. I felt exposed, humiliated, raw, but Daniel was thrilled. He touched me afterwards with a hunger I hadn't felt in years, whispering how much he loved me, how alive it made him to see me through someone else's hands. And against my will, against everything I thought I believed, something inside me shifted. Because as much as I hated it, a part of me also liked it. And once that part woke up, there was no putting it back to sleep. What started as one night turned into many. Daniel arranged it, always careful, always watching. At first, I told myself I was doing it for him, for our marriage, for his fantasy. But somewhere along the way, that excuse crumbled, because I began to crave it, the attention, the danger, the thrill of being wanted by men who were not my husband. The first time, I shook with shame. The 5th time, I shook with anticipation. And by the 10th, I was the one asking for more, Daniel noticed. Of course he did. The glow on my face, the hunger in my voice, the way I reached for him differently afterwards, charged with an energy that wasn't his alone. But instead of joy, I began to see something else in his eyes. Anger, jealousy, regret. One night, after another encounter that left me breathless, I came home to find him waiting. His expression was dark, his voice sharp. "This isn't what I wanted. You were supposed to do it for me. You were supposed to let me watch, not lose yourself in it." I stared at him, stunned. "You asked for this. You begged me for this. And now I finally feel alive, and you want to take it back?" His silence was louder than any argument. The truth hit me then, like a cruel twist of fate. Daniel had unleashed something he couldn't control. He had opened the door, but I was the one who walked through it. And now, I didn't want to go back. The very fantasy he had fed was now feeding me, and he hated it. I look at Daniel now, and I hardly recognize him. The man who once begged me to fulfill his deepest craving now looks at me with resentment in his eyes. He wanted control. He wanted to hold the strings while I played the part in his fantasy. But what he never expected was that once I tasted freedom, once I discovered the power of being desired by more than just him, I couldn't let it go. I tried to explain it. I tried to tell him that it wasn't about betrayal, that it wasn't about choosing others over him. It was about discovering a side of myself I never knew existed. A side that he himself had awakened. But he doesn't hear me, or maybe he refuses to. Now we live in the shadow of a secret he created. He is angry, I am alive. And the marriage we once shared is no longer the same. Do I regret it? Some days, yes. Other days, not at all. Because I know one truth that Daniel can't accept. Sometimes, when you feed a fantasy, it grows into something you can't control. And once that hunger takes root, it doesn't belong to anyone else. It belongs to me. So I leave you with this question. If the person you loved awakened a part of you that made you feel more alive than ever before, would you shut it down for them? Or would you embrace it, even if it destroyed everything else? Tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my place? And don't forget to like and subscribe, because more forbidden confessions are coming. And some of them are darker than this.